Hey, what's up, you guys, and welcome back to the Televised Podcast. My name is Anna, and today we're going to be talking about some stuff to do with Supergirl. If you saw last night's episode, then you were probably around to see the promo, the trailer for the episode coming out February 16th, and I just have a lot of issues about what happened and what is maybe going to happen, and I just want to talk about it. And so this isn't going to be like a traditional recap. I'm still going to talk about the episode. I'm going to talk about last week's episode a little bit to make up for some lost time, because I unfortunately had some bronchitis and I sounded horrible. I still don't sound very good. I'm still very stuffy and stuff, and so I might be a little bit stuffy, and that's going to sound gross, and I truly apologize, but I could not wait any longer. I felt really, really bad about missing last week, and especially because I feel like both Batwoman and Supergirl were very good last week, and then Batwoman was really good this week. But if I don't know. I've been thinking a lot, and because, the show has been very good, and I've been really excited to talk about it. And, but this is reminding me a lot of 2017, like season 2, season 3. And, if the series, like if the season, continues to go in a direction that I do not want, and I don't want to deal with, I'm still gonna make podcasts and stuff. I might talk a little bit more about Batwoman than Supergirl, especially because also the general consensus that I've found among obviously like people online and stuff seems to be that we're all really a lot more excited about Batwoman than Supergirl right now. And I am too, like that's how I feel, but I'll always talk about Supergirl, even if it's just me being angry and ranting, because I love the show, and I'm so passionate about the show, and even if it goes in a direction that just is not super cool, I'll still be here to talk about it if you will hang around with me. Really quick though, before we start talking about Batwoman, about Supergirl, I did want to mention that I adored the backdoor pilot for Green Arrow and the Canaries. I thought it was such a strong backdoor pilot. It was such, because when you think about it, like it was a pilot episode. Like pilots are rough. 99% of the time, pilots are rough. Like rewatch the Supergirl pilot. Woof. It's hard. It's terrible. I mean, it's not bad, but you know what I mean? Like they're really hard to make them enjoyable because of how much information that you have to put into the episode, how much exposition you have to do. I mean, obviously it helped a little bit that these characters are already existing, like we know them, but we did have to reintroduce a lot and go over a lot of things because obviously Crisis, kind of screwed everything up for everybody. So It was a really, really, really enjoyable episode, and if you haven't, go on the CW app and just stream it. And if you have and you just want to help out the show, you can literally just go on the CW app, like on your phone, on your iPad. Like if you just feel like doing something else and just letting your iPad sit there, then just turn it on and put some headphones on and leave it. You don't have to listen to it, just let it play. That's what I've been doing, like, because really the streams do help the show a lot, and I'm really, really, really pulling for a pickup for the show. So hopefully we get that. Hopefully it happens. I really just want to say like a huge hats off to Katie Cassidy and Juliana Harkavy and Kat McNamara, just everyone involved in Green Arrow and the Canaries, because it really was so good, and I truly hope to see them in the future, and I hope I can talk about them in the future. That'd be really cool. And Dinah Siren Endgame, hell yeah, I'm ready to go down with another ship. I mean, but you know what, Beth Schwartz, she did kind of tease it on Twitter, so I have hope for that one. Maybe I should stop having hope. Maybe I should stop being hopeful for things. Anyway, so I briefly want to talk about last week's Batwoman and then this week's Batwoman. Last week's Batwoman was, I think, personally the strongest episode of the series, even taking into consideration this week, because I think that this week was, again, another just like one of the best of the series kind of episodes, but I really don't think anything can top the feeling that last week's episode gave me, because it was just so beautiful. Like the way that Kate was able to live her truth as Batwoman and you know, be that hero that the world needed, and be the hero that young LGBT kids needs. Like it's the same thing with Dreamer, you know, like when Dreamer came out as a trans woman on Supergirl, like having Batwoman come out, because, you know, obviously the audience, like as the audience watching the show, we know that Batwoman is a lesbian superhero, but like no one else knew that. And so the fact that she got Kara to write the article was just amazing. I don't know. I loved everything about it. Like, especially the interaction with that teenage girl. She was so funny. And she was just, because she was able to like convey everything that I needed her to, you know what I mean? Like, 'cause she was like, you know, it doesn't get better. And I'm going to spend my whole life begging to be represented by some like side character on my favorite show and everything. I'm like, God, sitting too close to home, Batwoman. And I just love Batwoman, and the writers are so amazing. Caroline Dries, you know who I'm talking about, the showrunner, she's amazing. I mean, Ruby has improved so much as an actress, like just over the course of the show. It's so cool to watch her grow as an actress. And so the episode, I loved everything about it. I just love Batwoman. I really do. And then this week was just amazing as well. I mean, oh my God, like Rachel Skarsten, Emmy for Rachel Skarsten. Like, I'm starting my Emmy campaign right now, especially if they're going to go in the direction that the Rebirth comics kind of take Alice and Beth. Where they're like literally two people living in the same body and they have different personalities and they occupy the same person. I think that would be really, really cool if they did that. And I'm really excited to see what Rachel Skarsten can do with that. But she was so good. And the storyline that Alice had with Sophie was so amazing. Like, for them to address, like, for them to compare, because really, like, this is a really fair comparison, for them to compare Alice, or, you know, young baby Beth being trapped and locked in that house and pretending, and then putting on this mask and pretending to be someone that she's not, comparing that to Sophie getting married to a man and then pretending to be something that she's not, that was amazing. Because, I mean, really, it feels like you're a hostage in your own body when you're complying to this like compulsory heterosexuality and you're not allowed to like live your truth in that way. So it was just so amazing to see, and so it was just so good, and to see Alice be able to kind of break Sophie down to her very core, like just right in front of her, like, you know, in a couple of minutes, like just totally break her down. It was so cool, because Alice is just such a cool villain. And not gonna lie, I still have hope for her, but like last night, it was just, she was such a good villain. And I don't know, because also with Sophie's storyline, you know, because there's people who were watching the show and they were really frustrated with Sophie and, oh, why can't, you know, like, it's 2019 at the time, why can't she just be out, be proud, you know, whatever. And I loved that they really like took it and said, you know what? No, like, she cannot just do that, because she's literally a prisoner in her own body. And she's had to create this other identity just to survive. And I thought that was so cool. And then that shot where Alice had the gun to her head and then the camera panned over so that we couldn't see the gun, and it, you know, your brain just kind of like fills in the bullet kind of going through her head. Sorry, that was really dark, but like that's how it was. And it was just brilliant. It was such a good episode. I loved everything about it. If you're not watching Batwoman, I beg of you to watch Batwoman. Like, seriously. It is one of my favorite CW shows probably ever. That and Nancy Drew is really up there. I mean, obviously, you know, I love Supergirl, and you know I love like trash garbage like Riverdale, and I like Legacies and everything, but truly, and Legends, of course. Legends premiere was funny as hell. Watch Legends if you are not watching that either. But the thing about Batwoman is so cool is like, you know, we're able to see such a diverse cast and such healthy relationships between them, and tell such diverse stories between them. Like, you know, we've been able to tell stories with you know, Luke, and hopefully even more so in the future with Luke living as a black man in Gotham. And then, you know, we've got Kate, obviously, because she has a different experience with being like a butch lesbian in Gotham. And then obviously we have this issue of the mayor won't even call upon Batwoman because he's homophobic, because Batwoman came out. And then you've got Mary, and she's dealing with this, and it's dealing with like a family that's very much like split apart and kind of mushed back together, and there's so much animosity, and you deal with that, like step parents and losing your parents and all this kind of stuff. And then you have, and of course, you know, she's Asian as well, which is just amazing, because we had 2 shows in the 2019-2020 season introduce shows with Asian leads as a part of the show. We had Batwoman and Nancy Drew. We have George on Nancy Drew. And I think that's so cool as well, because, you know, obviously that's a community that's grossly underrepresented on television, and it's one of the like few areas that the CW kind of has been lacking lately. But they are starting to hopefully bring it around to and then, you know, we've got Sophie. Obviously she's dealing with being a black woman and dealing with the compulsory heterosexuality, as well as her parents. Like, she is like, her parents are super conservative, and she doesn't want to risk her relationship with her parents. And there's just, and Alice, like, dealing with this hostage, this poor little girl, like, forced to make masks out of human skin. Ooh, bleh, gross. And it's just, everything about Batwoman is so good. It's just incredible. I'm so excited for when Kate gets her bar up and running, because I'm really excited to see what happens with that. I would love to see like the Super Friends there. I know it probably won't happen, but I would love to see it anyway. I'm just excited for what the future holds for Batwoman, because it's just such an amazing show. It really is. Anyway, rant over about Batwoman. So now really quick, I want to touch on last week's Supergirl episode, which was called the bottle episode, which we were totally all wrong about. I was totally wrong about everything to do with the bottle episode. The title of the episode actually came from the fact that Emo Brainy put his world in a bottle, which was very different from what I actually thought it would be. I took it really literally, like TV literally, like, but that was not the case. It was a good episode though. It was really fun. I mean, Jesse Rath was incredible. He is so good at just like distinguishing between all of these brainies, and it was so cool to see that he worked so hard and so closely with the costume department, with the writers, with the team, to develop all of this stuff, because he's such a fan, and you could tell that he's such a fan of like the comics and of all that stuff, because he's just so into it, and it's just amazing. Like I love that he was able to, you know, have this super awesome episode focused on him, which was really, really cool. yeah, so it was awesome. It was a really great episode, but unfortunately, you know what? Here's the thing. One complaint that I have about Supergirl right now is that whenever we get any scenes that were like this has been a theme. Whenever we get episodes that have a suspiciously large amount of Brainy and Nia scenes, they end up breaking up. It's like they're like, oh yeah, we got to remind you that they're together so that we could break them up at the end. And that's one of my main issues with Supergirl right now, is that there's just too many characters for them to even know what to do with. Honestly, there's way too many characters. They don't know what to do with them. There's too many series regulars and so they're tied into these contracts with people, and it's ridiculous. Like Nia, we didn't see her for like 3 episodes, I think, was like a stretch of time where we did not see Nia, or we very minimally saw Nia. And that's ridiculous because she's supposed to be Kara's little mentee, little protege, little reporter buddy. And it's like, come on now. Like, well, where is she? And of course, I'm going to really start going on William. But of course, all of these storylines go to this random ass guy, William. Like, it could have been Nia who is now investigating Lex, who Kara feels like, oh shoot, like Nia, like, I need to help you and I need to protect you from this. I mean, obviously Nia has powers, but it was shown in last night's episode that she doesn't know the full extent of them either. So like, that's how little they've developed her character. She's like, whoa, my powers do that? And we're all like, oh my God, come on now. Let's get it together. I don't know. I don't even know where to start with this episode. But I just truly hats off to Jesse Rath. He's such a cool guy. And, I mean, obviously Nicole Maines did such an amazing job as Nia, in the episode and from last week in the bottle episode. And so that was really, really cool to see. But of course, we hardly ever see her. So, and the same thing with Kelly. Like, we literally got one little glimpse at Kelly in the bottle episode. She didn't even get a line. And then in this episode last night, what did she get? One line? I can't even hardly remember, because it was just that insignificant and that tiny and that like such a minuscule, unimportant moment. Like, and it's not fair. So, I mean, okay, let me talk about some positives from last night's episode, because it wasn't all bad. Honestly, I was kind of bored watching it. Just me personally. I just wasn't super interested, especially after the extremely interesting episode of Batwoman that came before it. I was kind of like, okay, whatever. Because I mean, listen, I'm not even that emotionally attached to Wynn anymore. He's been gone for way too long, first of all. And Brainy has been shown to be like the superior, like, Wynn kind of character, Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's the clunky little sidekick guy, like. And I mean, now obviously he's different, but I just feel like Brainy filled in that role better and in a way that I liked more, just personally, than anything that Wynn did on the show. And I mean, obviously, that's just me. Obviously, you could be excited about Wynn. I'm not going to be, mean about Wynn or whatever, but I just was like, I don't miss him, so I don't really care. I don't really care about what's going on with Wynn. But I mean, it was really cool to see him. It was really cool to see Kara and Alex be so excited to have Wynn back. It was cool to hear that he has a wife and a child. But then I found out that apparently the woman that they used as his wife actually was one of the first like sapphic superheroes in DC Comics, and they totally erased that. Okay, listen, to be fair, I was reading up on it, and apparently, so the character that they chose was this character named Isla, and her like alter ego, her superhero name in the Legion of Superheroes is Lightning Lass. And so I was doing some research on it, and it turns out that it's technically never been like explicitly stated that her and this other superhero, Shrinking Violet, that they're together. Like it's apparently never been fully explicitly stated, but when it is heavily implied and people truly do recognize her as one of the first LGBT superheroes in like DC Comics, as like one of the first sapphic superheroes in DC Comics, I don't think you mess with that personally. Like that's just me, but it's like, dude, what, like why would you bother to like mess with that? You know what I mean? Like that just seems unnecessarily cruel, especially when on that balcony scene with Win and Nia, he was clearly talking about how much of a connection that he has with Nura and all. And listen, I don't know if Nura is an LGBT character. I don't think she is, because some people that are super into comics on Twitter were kind of like, hey, why didn't they just put him with Nura? And so that's my question. Like, why didn't they just make it where he is with Nura and all? Like, nobody would have been mad. We're all more mad that, you erased this LGBT character, like made her have a kid with Win. Like, are you kidding me? So I don't know. That just really kind of pissed me off a bit, because it's like, dude, like, why would you do that? Why would you go out of your way? Because again, like, it's not like there are no other characters. Like, there are so many Legionnaires, and they had to go out of their way to make it the implied sapphic one. Like, come on, do your research, because you obviously had to do some. No one can name Legionnaires off the top of their head. Like, you obviously had to do some research about that, and so you had to know that was a thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you had to know that it was a thing, that it's right there on her Wikipedia page. I don't know. That was just ridiculous to me. That was absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, I said I was going to talk about positives of the episode. Anyway, what are some positive things that I thought about the episode? I think that Lena is on an interesting path right now. One thing that I thought was really interesting is that they paralleled directly the interaction of Lena saying that Lex and her were partners with Kara and William saying that he and her were partners. And I don't know what to make of that. I feel like maybe that was kind of like foreshadowing to be like, hey, this isn't going to work out. Because obviously we know that Lex and Lena is not going to work out. Like, their partnership is not going to work out. So maybe that was a little like hint to say, hey, like, this partnership is not going to work out. Because truly, like, I don't know, there were so many parallels that I thought were so odd in this episode, and so many things that I thought were just unbelievably odd in this episode. And I'm trying to think of positive things to talk about, but I keep circling back to all the negative ones. Oh God, like, what was good? What was good? Win was really funny. I will give him that. He was really funny, and I thought that Jeremy Jordan did a really good job of playing the Toyman version of Win. I thought he was really interesting. I thought he was really unhinged. I liked that about him. I think, don't shoot me, but I think that Jeremy Jordan could totally play a great Joker, because he just has that unhinged vibe about him. Like, the look that he got in his eyes when he was Toyman Win was just a lot. And so I feel like he could make like a really good, not necessarily Joker, but like a super unhinged character, because he totally sold me on it. Like, absolutely. And yeah, so I just was, that I thought that was really cool. I also really liked that they included this storyline about how Win was basically, like an angry white man incel kind of thing. And they decided to make him like go viral online, because it really reflected like the issue that we have today with like incel culture and like white men on Reddit and like, you know, stuff like that where people feel, where white men specifically feel like they've been done wrong and they need to punished society for whatever reason, you know, and so he definitely had school shooter vibes. And I thought that was really interesting because especially in this season where they say that we're talking about like the dangers of technology, I thought that was a really cool moment to have in there because again, like, well, you know, the way that they've been going about this like whole technology is dangerous kind of thing is talking about the actual like physical technological advancements, like obviously everything with Andrea Rojas, which I think I'm totally right about what they're doing with Obsidian and Leviathan. And it just started right now, so I totally predicted it, where Leviathan is going to use it to mind control people. That's totally going to happen. And I feel like they're totally going to have Lena use the Q waves to un-mind control everybody in the end. Like, that's just how it's going to go down. But anyway, so, you know, having the focus always be on, oh, look, the scary virtual reality, like, ooh, scary. But they're not actually talking about all the, like, actual scary stuff that happens, like, because the glorifying of like serial killers and the glorifying of like incel culture and stuff, like that's actually really scary, and it's happening online right now everywhere today, you know. And I mean, they kind of touched on it last season with like the Children of Liberty kind of storyline where it was all online, but then it came into real life, but I think that was really cool where it was like Kara was like, what? He's calling for violence and he's calling for chaos. And Alex was like, well, it's the anonymity of the internet, you know, making people so bold as to think, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to subscribe. Hopefully he blows up somebody cool, you know, whatever. And so I just thought that was really interesting that they took that approach. And I hope that they continue to do that in the future because there are some really cool things that they could touch on, like, I mean, obviously, like, electronic voting hacking, hello, or, like, the infiltration of propaganda via social media and how that can affect people. Like, I feel like those are the more pressing technological issues that we have, and it would go even further, like, into their super, super political stance that they've always taken, more so than, like, VR is scary, like they're doing right now, so I'm really intrigued, I guess, to see where they go from here with their virtual reality stories because, like I said, there's a lot of potential for them to go into some really cool directions, but we'll see. Yeah, so what other positives do I have? David did a great job directing. He had some pretty cool shots in there. The action sequences were really cool. I did think it was really funny that it seems that the music budget is way higher than the CGI budget because they got like Eye of the Tiger and then they had the In Sync song in the last episode. I'm like, God, they're spending so much more money on music than they are on their CGI, which I know is not true, but it feels like it. So yeah, now let's get into my complain rant. This is what I wanted to do in season 2. Like I would literally just sit in my room. This is going to sound so pathetic. During season 2, especially after like the Valentine's episode last year, which is why this feels so much like deja vu. I would just literally sit in my room after the episode and just like talk out loud to myself, laying out all of my issues with Supergirl, and now I can actually do it for a microphone and you all will listen and hopefully you'll agree with me. But yeah, so I just want to go over all of the stuff that I'm feeling, what is going down with Supergirl, why I'm not super on board with Supergirl right now, and I guess like where do we go from here, I think is the real question. So here are my issues. If you follow me on Twitter, this will kind of be like a rehash, but I'm going to kind of like, go deeper into detail with some of these thoughts that I have. And so hopefully this isn't super repetitive. Okay, so my main issue with this is that it feels so rushed. And that's also where I think it's like a fake out, because it is so rushed that it's like, wait a minute, this doesn't even make any sense. So, but I'll get into that later. I'll talk about kind of the fake out aspect later. So the thing is that, like, I can literally count on my hand the amount of scenes that William Day has had in this whole season. Because the thing is, he was in the first, like, 4 episodes, maybe? 4? No, not even, like, not even enough to be significant. So maybe, like, the first 3. And then he just kind of falls off the face of the earth and disappears. And all we have are these incredible Kara and Lena episodes. Like, you can listen to me rant about how amazing those last couple of Kara and Lena episodes were. And then all of a sudden, Kara's like head over heels for him because they stood too close to each other. Like, what is happening? Especially because he was such a toxic jerk. And Kara literally said that word for word. She said, "You have been nothing but a toxic jerk to me." And just because the earth reset does not mean that the viewers reset. That's the thing, is like half of the time, the Supergirl writers, they feel like their writing is so lazy because they do so much development off screen, and they're like, I'm going to just tell you what they're like now. Here you go. Told. No, that the number one rule in TV is show don't tell. Like, I am not listening to an audio story. I'm watching a TV show. You can show me William being a good person. You can show me these things. But all I saw in this episode was William annoying the hell out of Kara because he just wouldn't stop. He wouldn't give up because he was being an asshole again. Like, again. Oh my God. And it's just so frustrating because it's like the thing is too that he doesn't fit in. Like, he doesn't fit into the show. Like I was saying earlier, his reporter storyline could so easily go to Nia, who actually needs a storyline. Like, we don't need all these goddamn series regulars. Like, as much as I love Andrea, like, she doesn't need to be a series regular. William doesn't need to be a series regular. Like, they need to trim down the fat on their regulars that they have because it's too much. Especially now with Lex here, because that means that we're getting way less Lena because Lex is taking over like all of her screen time. So we've pushed Lena out, you know, we don't have any storylines to give to Nia, so she only shows up every once in a while when we remember that she exists. Kelly gets nothing. She gets no lines. Danson just gets to sit next to each other at the game night. Like, that was ridiculous. And the thing is that there, you know, people have been so outspoken about being like, well, you Supercorps, what the hell, man? Like, why are you ditching the show when we have this amazing representation of Danson and Nia? Like, you don't care about real representation. You just care about yourselves. Like, whoa, hold on. I truly care about Nia and I care about Danson so much. But they're not good representation, unfortunately, because they're never there. They are never there. The representation cannot be good if they are never there. And that's just the truth. Like, if we never see Kelly and Alex actually talk to each other, it does not count. Them sitting next to each other at a game night does not count. And that's, again, where I feel so bad for, like, Danson fans. And I mean, obviously, most Supercorps are Danson fans. Like, we love Danson. And the thing is, it's like, we never see them. There's hardly anything to be a fan of because we never get anything. We never see them. I mean, they've had two meaningful conversations this whole entire season. That's it. Like, that, literally, that is it. They, like, Kelly, again, she hasn't gotten to talk these last 2 episodes. Like, this is ridiculous. And the same thing with Nia. Like I said earlier, they have to, like, remind us about all this stuff because we forget because they don't show her for 3 episodes. It is just so ridiculous because it's like all of this stuff is finally, like, mounting up to a point where it's like, it's just ridiculous. You know, we have Danson getting no screen time, so hardly any LGBT representation right there. Because obviously, as much as I love to see Alex, as much as I love that she's on screen, the impact comes from the relationship in Supergirl. That's where it comes from. In Batwoman, it's different because Kate, she is out here making it known that she is an LGBT advocate. She, they made Batwoman a political figure in Batwoman. Alex Danvers at the DEO is not a political figure. She's not out here, being an LGBT advocate. Obviously she's a lesbian, but it's not enough actual physical representation to amount to much. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I mean, and this is not an insult to Alex in any way, but it's just going to it goes to show that either Alex needs a good, juicy LGBT storyline, or you need to beef up dancing more. And that's what they need to do. They need to beef up dancing more, especially because we have Kelly Olsen, who is a Black woman and a lesbian, and a survivor, of PTSD, and she was a veteran, and oh my God, she's this sick character. She's so cool. And they give her nothing. There's I feel so bad because I remember listening to Ozzy at Comic-Con talk about, Kelly has such a cool role this season, she's at Obsidian, she's gonna be in danger, all this stuff. We've hardly seen her. Where is she in danger? Maybe the danger will kick up now that Leviathan is there, but it was such a waste of time. It felt because she just has nothing. And same thing with Nia. We hardly get her, and we hardly get her at Catco. We hardly get her being a reporter, and she was such, and the same thing with Dreamer. They could totally do a storyline where Dreamer has to be this trans advocate again, because she came out the same way that Batwoman did, and that would be such a cool storyline to have. But we get nothing. Literally, we get nothing. We get her every couple episodes. And so that's, again, those issues mounting on top of each other. And then we have this whole William issue where it's he's eating up screen time. He doesn't belong. He doesn't fit into this cast anywhere because all of his scenes feel like he's just shoehorned in there. It really reminds me of someone else, Mon-El. And then all of a sudden now Kara is totally in love with him because it just feels like they signed Stasnair to this contract way too early. They jumped the gun on this whole thing. They don't know what to do with William, and they're oh, well, I guess he can be a love interest. It's too late for that now, bud. The thing is that when it comes to Kara having a love interest, it is literally too late to set up her quote-unquote end game. You know what I mean? Because you've never seen a show, at least in the superhero world, or even just in the teen drama world. Because even thinking about Pretty Little Liars, Emily had all of those girlfriends, but her end game, which we're not going to talk about the perfectionists, her end game was Allison, a character who's been there since the beginning. Again, and the same thing with Spencer and they had Spencer be with Caleb, but then Spencer and Toby get together at the end because they're endgame. They've been the relationship for this whole time. They don't just start something later and keep it as the thing, because there's been no seasons long development for this bond to have anybody have any attachment to them. Do you know what I mean? Barry and Iris have been there since the beginning. Felicity and Oliver, as torn as they make people feel, it has been Felicity and Oliver since season 1. And the same thing is going to happen with Batwoman and Sophie. Even if Kate goes off and dates somebody else, it will always be Batwoman or Kate and Sophie. It'll be Bad Sophie all the time. And so for Kara, truly, I feel the only male love interest that made sense for her was James, but they nixed that, of course, right when they moved to the CW, and then they did that total character assassination of James, so it just totally undid itself, and it was terrible, and it just imploded. And then, of course, they put him with Lena, and it just didn't work, and so, literally the only one left who has any, end game potential for Kara is literally Lena, but they won't do it, I guess. So that's really cool and fun. And you know what though? people might not like me for saying this, but I wouldn't be mad if Kara never had another love interest ever again. Like, if you're not going to give me Lena and Kara, then she could just be single. Like, season 4 was one of the best seasons because Kara was single and they got to focus on Kara and on her character development and on what she was feeling instead of trying to like shove this, you know, romance down our throats. And so, you know, that was just such, it was really great to see, you know, it was so great to see Kara be independent, be on her own, and actually develop and have screen time and have a storyline that didn't revolve around a man. Because again, like now, here we are with William. Kara's storyline now is apparently protecting William from Lex. Like, what? Why does her storyline have to revolve around a man like that? Like, come on. That's ridiculous. Especially after this whole first part of the season, you told me that her storyline was about getting Lena back to the light side, you know, back to Team Super Friends, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, actually she's gonna be a bodyguard for William. Yeah, that sounds cool. Which, of course, is making me feel ill because there's an episode coming up called The Bodyguard. Gross. And you know what? I mean, it just like all of this, it just feels like such a huge slap in the face. It really does. It feels like, you know, just more taunting, more teasing, more everything. It just feels so gross, you know, especially after so many, like, and I know that this technically, I guess, is not the Supergirl, like, writer's fault, but, like, so many news outlets were posting about Supercorp, hashtag Supercorp, all of this stuff, and it's, you know, maybe not gonna happen, you know, it just, I feel like a fool a little bit, and it just makes me feel gross. I'm like, God, why did you do that to me? Why did you make it so that, you know, so that I feel like an idiot, and you kind of spit in the face of a huge chunk of your audience? Like, that's the thing, is like, they have to know that this is gonna make a humongous portion of their audience mad. Like, I just don't know. Like, it feels foolish for them. Like, it feels stupid on their part. Like, what? It just doesn't make any sense to me personally. I just, oh my God. So, I do want to talk about this idea that, you know, that there's a fake out happening, because someone online was like, hey, you know, what if she says, I've never felt like this, or I haven't felt like this in so long, because she realizes that she's in love with Lena or something, and she realizes what it feels like to be in love with your best friend or something. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. That'd be cool. I'm gonna keep a little sliver of hope open for that. For that specifically. There you go. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think it would be really, really cool if that were happening. And I mean, I think, again, like, it's, all of this happens so very fast that it's like, well, it just feels like something isn't right. Like, this isn't, like, we're obviously not getting the whole story from the promo, because we never do. But it really is like, wait a minute, like, because again, like, it just feels like their whole audience hates this. Their whole audience is not gonna like this, and they know that. So why would they do this? Like, especially because back in the days of Mon-El and Kara, all of the important, like, romantic scenes between them were never in the promos. At least that's what I remember. Like, so why would they include that clip of William asking Kara out in the promo? Like, that, because that has to mean that there are so many more, like, crazier, more important things that are happening in the actual episode, and that makes me very nervous. And the thing is, like I said, maybe it's a fake out because they paralleled, I felt, Win with William so much, kind of like establishing William as the new Win in their group. And obviously Win and Kara did not work out. I mean, so maybe maybe that's what's happening. I don't know. I'm trying to have some hope, but I do have like some things to tell you just so that you're informed about what's going to go down and what's going to happen. So for this next episode of Supergirl, it'll be on February 16th. There's a hiatus because award shows and stuff. I'm surprised that they even aired last night because of the Grammys. And of course, you know, the ratings were very soft because of the Grammys. But the thing is, so next time, if you truly are very passionate about boycotting Supergirl, what I'm going to tell you is that if you do not have a Nielsen box in your house, your live watch does not matter. It really does not. It will not count for anything, because if you do not have a box at your house, then, you know, it does not matter. Like, they are not able to count just random ass people turning on their TV. The Nielsen box is what they use to like average out what people are watching. And actually, most of the time, they will have them in places like apartment buildings and dorms. They won't be in your individual unit. Like, I live in this apartment dorm situation, you know, where I go to school. And so it's like my watch is being counted there, but not if I watch it like at my house at home, you know, when I come home from college. So it's like, if you're watching from, if you live in an apartment or you live in a dorm, your view would count. So you can boycott it all you want and it will work because they won't count your view. But watch Batwoman so that they can see that the viewership like dips. Like, people were there for Batwoman and then they turned it off and stopped watching. That's my suggestion. If you live in an apartment, if you live in a dorm, if you have a Nielsen box in your house, because some people have them, you know, turn on the CW at 7, 8 Central, or 8, 7 Central, and watch Batwoman. You don't even have to watch it, just turn it on, and then turn it off when it's time for Supergirl, because that will show people, the Supergirl staff, that, you know, that there was people interested in Batwoman, and then they turned their show off, they turned it off for Supergirl. Like, just change the channel, you know? And, but if you live just like in a house and you don't have a Nielsen box, watch it live. Live tweet with the hashtag your displeasure. Because seeing the tag be so full of negativity about what's happening on the show right now is exactly what we need. And it is so important to tweet with the hashtag. I promise you that, because the CW really values online engagement. And if all the online engagement is negativity, our voices might be heard. And so another important thing is, the reason that I'm suggesting you watch it live is because you might still want to see the episode. So watch it while it's on, because if you try to watch it the next day on the CW app, that view will count. Every time you watch anything on the CW app, that view counts towards delayed viewership, which is where a lot of CW shows really shine, especially in these weird time slots like, you know, Sunday night, Friday night. A lot of their viewership is delayed. And so what you can do is, if you have it recorded on your TV, don't watch it on your DVR, don't watch it on demand, don't watch it on the CW app. I mean, I guess pirate it if you really want to see it and you don't want to watch it live, like, but, you know, I don't know, but I kind of have, I have a weird feeling that everything will kind of work out okay, but until then, I'm very nervous and I'm very mad, I'm very angry. I unfortunately had the same exact, just ugly, disgusting, anxious feeling that I always had during season 2, which sucks because Supergirl has been, you know, like keeping me so excited and so happy and so cool, you know, just so excited about the show lately. And now I just feel like shit again, which is just great. So, like I said, live tweet your displeasure on the hashtag, reply to their tweets with stuff saying that you hate William and Kara, or, you know, William and Kara together. Say that you want more Nia, say that you want more Kelly, you know, stuff like that. And like I said, do not stream. Don't stream the next day. Just, yeah, that's kind of my fair warning for that. Hopefully it's all going to be okay, but I don't know right now. But yeah, so I will see you guys, oh God, in a couple weeks. Damn, I'm so sorry that this has been so inconsistent, but I was sick, but then now Supergirl's on a hiatus, so I'm gonna be on hiatus too then, I guess. I mean, maybe I'll come out with a fun deep dive episode in between just to like lift some spirits. So yeah, I mean, let me know if you guys enjoyed kind of this like rant and, discussion of what's going on Supergirl, because I mean, like I said before, the reason that I even made this podcast is because during season 2, I was not hearing my opinion be represented, and actually the opinion of a good half of the fandom at the time, who was against Mon-El. Like, I wasn't hearing that on these recap shows and these podcasts and things. So I created this to kind of have that voice be heard. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you aren't too torn up about Supergirl. I hope that it gets better. And yeah, so if you are so inclined, tweet me at Televised Pod on Twitter. Subscribe, like, comment, share, rate, all the fun things. Sorry about the mix-up on Spotify. I had to email Spotify support because my crisis episode did not show up on there for like a couple days. It was super annoying. Hopefully that does not happen again. I really apologize to Spotify users. That was not me. It was Spotify. Like, the episode was up, it was out of my hands, and they just did not upload it. So that was fun. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye.